How do you know if your voice is rising in frequency? In today's video, I'm going to talk about 10 signs that are showing up for you right now and for new earth leaders all over the planet that are indicating that their throat chakra power is activating at the next octave and the next level of power. So if we haven't met yet, my name is Margaret Alcantara, and I am an activator of the New Code of Power, as well as a mentor and coach to new earth leaders all over the planet. And new earth leaders being spiritual entrepreneurs, mystics, seers, healers, energy workers. We are opening up into a next level foundation of our power as spiritual leaders on the planet. And so I'm going to talk about 10 things that are showing up for new earth leaders right now. So the first one is that you feel a deep urgency to speak. So there's a lot going on the planet that is making us feel like we desire to really be in the authentic expression of our truth. And don't get that confused with you mouthing off or venting or anything like that, right? Like that's a whole different version of using your voice. But what I'm talking about in this video is really talking about opening up into your authentic expression of God-led power through your voice. So when you feel a deep urgency to speak your truth, you are feeling like, I can't wait on this any longer. I need to speak on it right now. If I don't, it's just going to fester there. Like it's a really urgent feeling. So that's a first sign. Then sign number two is that your words are carrying more weight. So if you've been working on yourself for quite some time, me and other new earth leaders, we have been doing this for decades already, right? So we've been doing a lot of that inner work already. We're already healed in our traumas and fears, and we're no longer carrying that into what we're doing with our services and our offerings in the world. So when your words carry more weight and you take that responsibility of the power of your voice, then you are much more intentional with your words and your expression. And you are also showing up in a way where literally not only do your words carry more weight, but you literally just have this presence that just carries itself. And so your manifestations might be more quick because a lot of the words you're saying is just really taking root. So that would be sign number two. Sign number three is that silence no longer feels like your safe zone. So there are a lot of people in the spiritual community that I have seen, and I used to be back in the day, who kind of use silence as I'm just, chilling out and relaxing into what my integration is around this topic, for instance. But when you really are in your leadership, you already have a connection to your inner voice, to your intuition, to your inner wisdom. And it no longer feels safe to be silent. In fact, it feels inauthentic. It feels out of integrity. And literally, there is a pull, a calling within you to really speak your truth and to no longer remain silent. And in fact, kind of being out of that comfort zone is a regular thing for you. And it's something you actually enjoy and you look forward to. I mean, I know I do. Sign four, your old throat tension is breaking up. So if you have TMJ disorder where it's cracking, or there's a lock in your jaw, or maybe there's a tight jaw, or your masseters are super tight, or maybe there's something going on with your throat where maybe you have some laryngitis, or you've got a cold and it's really affecting your voice and your vocal cords. And there's a lot of things going on with constriction in your mouth, in your voice, in your throat. Then you might notice that that is starting to lessen. And even this kind of constriction that might be caused by you not really speaking your truth, that is lessening because you are actually feeling compelled, driven even to speak in your integrity, in your highest, and from a place that is God-led. So that is sign number four. Sign number five, your voice is shaping higher timelines. So when you declare something out loud and you take action that is aligned and bold in alignment with that desire, then you are actually creating and magnetizing to you opportunities, partnerships, openings, and amazing things that you want in your life. And it's rearranging itself, like these timelines are rearranging themselves to meet your words. So that's really, really powerful. And on that note, there is also a part where I'm sure you've noticed this. There's a bifurcation between timelines going on. And this is something I spoke into like 2, 3, 4 years ago. And back then, when I was posting about this bifurcation that's going on the planet, a bifurcation of timelines, I got so much haters in my comments section telling me that I was fostering division and all this other stuff, which is actually not true. It's one thing to actually be factual in what's going on and what's actually occurring in reality versus sowing division. So the reality is that we are in this bifurcation of timelines right now. And you probably feel it because it's so much more evident right now. In fact, like maybe within the past month, it's become even more so evident. And so this bifurcation of timelines is showing up where one group of individuals is really just kind of in their victimhood. They are, not really in their power. They are disempowered. They are, in emotional dysregulation, and they're very highly reactive on an emotional level. Whereas you will see others on this other timeline where individuals are seeding the new earth and they are actively creating this new earth and they are holding that higher frequency to step into their truth and their power and their light and ultimately their mission. And this is really huge for starseeds everywhere. And if you're a starseed and you have origins and roots in other star systems and you incarnated on this planet to proactively raise the consciousness and frequency of humanity. And this is something that I resonate with because I'm a star seed, and I tend to magnetize to me those who are star seeds who have really big missions on the planet and are actively fulfilling those missions. Then you know what I'm talking about. So this bifurcation is really happening right now, and what you say is even more powerful than it was even like a year ago. So that's really important to notice. So that's sign 5. Sign 6, your clairaudience is sharpening. So, as you know, or maybe in case you don't know, I wrote the book Chakra Healing, and it is a beginner's guide to the chakras. And I'm a Reiki master teacher, in addition to being a licensed acupuncturist, a medicine woman initiated in the Maya Toltec Native American tradition, and also now activating new codes of power in others and at sacred sites all over the planet. I can tell you that I know a thing or two about the throat chakra and about the clairs, the clairvoyance, the clairsentience, the clairaudience, the claircognizance. Those are the main clairs. And your clairaudience, which is when you are taking in your intuition through hearing, then that is actually sharpening because your hearing and your voice are very much connected. And in addition to that, your sacral plexus, which is that throat, that is that chakra that is dealing with your sexuality, which deals with abundance, it's also the emotional seat of your being. And it's all about the birthing energy as well, right? So that chakra is very much connected with the throat chakra. And so these are kind of like those basic throat chakra and chakra, one-on-one kind of information, which I'm not going to get too deep into today. But your clairaudience is sharpening as a result of you showing up in your throat chakra power, because you are going to be hearing your intuition much more clearly, such as you're going to hear frequencies. You might hear certain songs, certain music, certain words, certain sentences. And this is all feedback coming in from these higher frequency levels. And that is informing your clairaudience as well. So that's step number 6. Step number 7, or sign number 7, is that you feel your voice is deeply connecting with your heart and your third eye. So as you probably have noticed, your throat chakra is right in the center between your heart chakra and your third eye. And your heart chakra is all about your connection to the divine, connection to God, Also, the crown chakra is that, but your heart chakra is very much connected to the fullness of who you are as a being on this planet. And your third eye is very much connected to your inner sight, your higher consciousness. It's the seat of your consciousness. And so this is all really important to understand, is that it's all this channel, right? And I mean, all of the chakras down your midline are all a channel as well. But when we're talking about the throat chakra, it's very much connected to the heart. It's very much connected with the third eye, because your throat chakra power really comes from being connected to your power and being activated in it. And that's very important. That's why I do the work that I do. And it's not just words that you're speaking. You are literally channeling what is coming through at the heart level for you. And if you are very much clear in your vessel, and that's something that I always recommend to all my clients, is that they're always making sure their energy is clear and that their vessel is clear and they are not opening themselves up to, energies, frequencies that are not aligned for them. But that's also just kind of New Earth Leadership 101, is taking care of your own energy. But your words are now coming from a higher place. It's coming from the heart. It's coming from the high heart, which is around this area here. And it's also coming from that higher consciousness level. And that together is bringing together this new frequency that is informed with those higher dimensional information, and that you are speaking into the world. And sign number 8, you're allergic to false light. So that is kind of figurative and maybe actual literally be true for you. But basically, false light is kind of those beings, those things that present as light, but they're actually not of light. And when you're in your New Earth leadership, you already know that difference because you are clearing your energy. So you can really tell when something is off. It's kind of like when you can tell, like, there's something off in the force kind of thing, and you can feel it in your body. But false light is basically like people showing up and being like, good vibes only and all this stuff. And, you know, most people are not like in good vibes only 24 hours a day. And also, there are people out there who are just promoting good vibes only from a place of not being grounded, which can actually be kind of dangerous energetically. But when it's really performative like that, and when people are all about, look at how amazing I am, look at how of light I am, and all that stuff, that's just something that should kind of make you think a little bit, right? Because you get to be in discernment with your energy. And that's why it's so, so important when you are a new earth leader, that you are really in discernment with energy, and that you can tell the difference between what belongs to you, what doesn't belong to you, and all of that stuff. I'm not going to get into it so deeply right now, but I will say that if you are starting to notice that you're feeling allergic to false light and all these performative energies that are showing up in the world, then that's something to take note of, because that is also another reason why your throat chakra power is showing up now, because your God-led truth coming from your voice, coming from your throat chakra, is so important right now and is so needed to be heard right now. And so I wanted to share that with you because, even though this is sign number 8, which is a little bit further down the line, I can't tell you how important it is to be really in discernment with your energy. Like, that's almost like one of the top things that as a new earth leader, you get to be doing. Sign number 9 is your resonance commands space. So this is tapping into what I talked about earlier, where you're no longer adjusting your tone to be palatable. Like, you're no longer trying to dim your light in order, to not offend anybody. And you're, not trying to, worry about, are your words threatening and things like that. It's really about, are you really speaking with your full authority? And when you do, and when you're doing that regularly, and you're in integrity with your field and your voice and who you are, and you know who you are, and you know what your voice feels like and sounds like, and what is meant to come forward from you, then that literally is a way of presence and of exuding your frequency into the world without even saying anything. Like you could walk into a room and you exude that energy of being really connected with your voice from a high level of integrity, and you're really connected with your power and your light, and you're grounded in who you are, and you are really in the knowing of your being, and you are literally unfuckwithable, as I like to call it, because the frequency of your voice sets the room and others recalibrate to you. And that's really important, is to understand how when you are in integrity with your voice, it literally shows up in the world. It can be felt, it's palpable, and people respond to that, you know, whether it is that they feel triggered by what you are saying, or they're resonating with what you're saying, or they want to be around you because they like what you're saying, or they're starting to project because of what you're saying, which leads me into sign number 10 out of the 10 signs that your throat chakra is rising to a higher frequency, is that you no longer dumb down your truth to please others. And this is so, so important because I see so many powerful spiritual entrepreneurs, new earth leaders, seers, healers, mystics, psychics, energy workers who are dumbing down their voice. And I see this all the time on social media. And sometimes they'll even say, like, they'll comment either in my DMs or under a post, like, thank you for saying that. Thank you, Margarita, for speaking for all of us, or speaking up. I totally resonate, and that kind of thing. But these are also the same people who are not using their voice, right? So usually when I hear those kinds of stories, I kind of turn the spotlight onto them and say, well, you can do this too. You very much have the power to speak your truth in a way that is in integrity with your voice and is a reflection of who you are. And that's really important because typically what they tend to do is they tend to dim down what they're saying. They self-censor themselves, and they dilute their message so that they can be liked or understood, or it doesn't hurt anybody's feelings, or it doesn't make other people feel threatened, right? And that is kind of an old mechanism from, childhood. That's a trauma response, basically, right? And when you're unhealed in that trauma response, then you're people pleasing all the time. And so that is actually what that is indicating, because when you're truly in your leadership, you understand that you might rock the boat. You understand that you're not for everybody, and you shouldn't try to be for everybody, because that also kind of leans into another thing that I notice with a lot of people who are spiritual entrepreneurs and seers and healers, is that they try to kind of cast a wide net because they want to appeal to everybody as an audience. But that is like the worst thing you can do, because what that does is that it will pull to you a lot of very general people who, either don't know what you're talking about, or they do know what you're talking about, and you may actually get some aligned people in the mix, but you're going to get a lot more people who are kind of vague, because I mean, if you're putting out vague information, you're going to get a lot of vague stuff back. And so you're going to get a lot of people who are attracted to your message, but they are also kind of ambiguous. They don't know what they're kind of doing. They're not grounded in who they are. And you're just going to kind of get like a cross section of humanity, which is not necessarily what you're wanting if you have a very specific mission on the planet and you really actually do want to, not necessarily polarize people in order for the sake of polarizing people, but you also get to be okay with the fact that your voice and what you share may polarize individuals. Because if you stepped into this deep, this deep work of fulfilling your starseed mission on the planet, then you already know that you're not here to be a people pleaser. You may even rock the boat sometimes, and that's okay. And you get to take ownership of that, right? Take ownership of your voice, take ownership of the fact that it is going to ruffle some feathers sometimes, and you get to take ownership of that, right? And It's so important to understand that because if you hold your voice back, if you censor yourself because you are afraid that other people may get upset, then you're actually having other people dictate how you run your business. So I wouldn't recommend doing that because that is then you're not running your own business. And if you are a CEO of your business, then you get to take ownership of that, right? So those were the 10 signs your voice is rising in frequency, which was you feel a deep urgency to speak truth, your words carry more weight, silence no longer feels like your safe zone, old throat tension is breaking up, your voice is shaping higher timelines, your clairaudience is sharpening, you feel your voice is deeply connecting with your heart and third eye, you're allergic to false light, your resonance commands the space, and you no longer dumb down your truth to please others. So if you are seeing yourself or resonating with any of what I've shared just now, then that's not a coincidence, right? And your voice is being called to a higher stream of power and truth. And this is exactly what I cover in my 3-month mentorship accelerator, which is a 3-month program. Typically, my mentorship program is a 12-month long-term program. But for those who are wanting the one-on-one with me to be supported, to receive activation, to receive the coaching, and to break through certain things that are blocking them because you can't see your own blind spots, right? So that's why usually my clients hire me is to not only pinpoint those blind spots, but also to help them break through it. So the 3-month accelerator, it's where the new earth leaders, spiritual entrepreneurs who already have businesses, seers, mystics, healers, energy workers, those who are already showing up actively as leaders on the planet. If that is something that you are interested in, then go ahead and click the link in the description below to take the next step on that. But if you're not there yet and you want something that would actually just activate your throat chakra power, I actually have an activation called the Throat Chakra Power Activation Video. And if you're interested in that, that is something that you will have lifetime access to. And it's only $47 too. If you're interested in that, you can click the link below. And on that note, I invite you to really open up into the next level of your power and use your voice because your voice is the puzzle piece that the world needs right now. So I hope that really served you. So much love, light, and power to you.